Okay, good evening, everyone. Trust we are good. Trust we are good. So we're moving. Let's start getting in. Let's start getting in. Where we hope to have a lot of questions to attend to. Um, please bear with me. My colleagues will join us shortly, but we can just get started already. Um, yes, thank you. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Start joining one after the other so that we can kill time and move on with these as soon as possible. Thank you. Okay. Okay. We're on standby for your questions for today. Many of us know, as we said in the last class, we'll be using this session to, you know, sort of round off and bring in a lot of the questions you guys may have as regards projects and product management and get them off. Okay, just a minute. Mm. All right. So how's your product management journey been for the past 8 weeks, I believe? How's it been and how are we doing on it? How's it been and how are we doing? I'm just saying good evening. I'm not hearing feedback, so good evening, guys. So how's the journey been? How's your product? What have you been able to do on your product so far? And then we'll take questions. Just a moment. Okay. You say I almost gave up. When you start, when you want to give us, you almost gave up. Don't give up. Oh. Go and collect it back. Don't give up at all. You have to go back and collect it. You're just getting started now. And you're going to do well. You're going to do well. You're going to do well. So let's get more feedbacks. It's good evening, everyone. Good evening. Um, why? Okay, just a moment. Good evening. We're hoping for more feedbacks quickly before we move into the questions. But you can start writing your questions now and start pulling them together. Start asking them, and we'll provide answers. My two other colleagues will join us shortly. We can expect them on the call shortly. Okay, awesome and mind blowing. I'm trying to see if there's something I did not show you. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Well, there's always a lot to learn when it comes to product management. You cannot really run out of your classes. One of the things we always told you is you must have the desire to consistently learn. You must have the desire to consistently learn. Okay, if you do not consistently learn, it will fall back on you. You must have desire to consistently learn. It never gets whatever you learn never gets outdated. Comes back to meet you. Okay, comes back to meet you, and that's the truth. You just find yourself always back at it. Comes back to meet you. So guys, take learning seriously. I can tell you so many courses a lot of us are taking. Um, a lot are taking. You can never imagine. You know, you can never imagine. A lot of courses everyone keeps taking. It doesn't go off. Okay, it doesn't go off. People keep going and going at it. We said as a product manager, you are going to be a T-shaped or N-shaped professional. So you can see a lot of skills you need to have. And it's not yet a university course. Product management will have been better if it's a university course of probably 5 years ahead. Then you can go so that you will now take a lot of electives. But like I said, it's not currently. So you have to take it upon yourself to educate yourself consistently. Whichever area, always consistently educate yourself. Don't please do not joke with it, okay? Do not joke with it at all. Do not joke with it. There's a lot you need to learn. There's a lot you need to learn, and you must give yourself that energy to learn it. Okay? We- I will recommend market sizing. No, when we say questions, it has to be questions or not full course. Market sizing is almost like a full course now. And we mentioned a lot as regards it in our class. The questions we'll be answering will be questions, not like we'll be going back into the course. Do you understand? We in the I remember I took you through market sizing now, but let me just do a run up. Remember that was when I was hold on. I remember I took you guys through market sizing. Um, please share my screen. I was talking about the I just remembered I did very very well. I don't know if anyone here can remember. If you guys listen in the class, so there are several aspects to it, but the ones you just need to know is what I will speak to quickly. Uh, exactly. When we're talking about the total admissible market, serviceable available market, and all of that, but let me let me help you and just speak to that. We said, do I still have that on that Figma? I think I showed you on Figma. I showed you on Figma. Yes, I did. I showed you on Figma. So when we say questions, I want this to be questions, not like we have to go over the classes. So, but let me help you quickly. In product management, the big circle, okay? You have a, let me help you because it's, you guys really want us to, let me show you something quickly, okay? So that just give me a moment. The course of that question, I'll go over it again, but I'll be very short on it. I remember we did it together, and I will do it now again so that you can get it. In product management, yes, when you're thinking a product idea, it may be small to you. and it may be big. But one thing we all do is to have a skilled, what I mean by skilled, skewed, skilled. We have a tilted idea of what our market is. Okay. Please, if you know you put a question on the group and they have not answered, just let admin know so that they can help you pin it. For now, let me clear market sizing. Please share my screen, admin. Bring my screen up just by the side. Thank you. Exactly. You see, and we even did the classwork on itself. Who remembers this thing? We did it now. Term, sum, sum. But for your sake, I'm gonna just run through it again. Okay. Oh, I'm not logged in. Hold on, let me just log in so I can help this our endless J1. Okay. All right. Let me see if I'm logging. I should be logging now. Just a moment. I'm trying to log in so I can edit this. Um, sorry, it's just network. Let me see. How many things do I have open? Okay. Go, 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 go. Okay. This should open now. And when we're done, I will just show you quickly. So the market sizing is just you being wise about what your market is. Okay. So when you're thinking about a product, generally, when you're thinking about a product, the first thing that comes to your mind is those you want to sell the product to. Good evening, Deborah. The first thing that comes to your mind is those you want to sell your products to. Okay? Your potential users. For instance, what product are you working on? And let's J1 quickly, 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 quickly. And let's J1. If you have a product you're working on, you can just give us so that that can help us. Let's make it as large as possible. So your potential users, style me up. Okay, thank you. So style me up now. You have this. Let me give you this. No, because you guys are online, let me make sure the colors are very visible. Let me give you this. This we call it um this year purple line in market sizing is what we call palm. Okay, palm. Palm is your potential potential addressable market. Are you guys following? Now this is what you have. Now this, for example, your style me up now. Maybe everybody that wears clothes, everyone that wears food, that is a tailor, those are your potential people all over the world. But the truth is, in the real sense of it, there is not all of them that are available to you. So under this market, you will now have something they call, you will have a lower cadre that are now smaller. You know, the market keeps reducing. Let me call it your, so this one now is your, this purple line will now be your total addressable market. Hold on. Yeah. This is your, let me increase the thickness so that we can move. Um, so yeah, this second one, just as you have the first one, now is your total market that you are addressable. Now, this one is not everybody. It's just people within that market that you can reach. I don't know what's wrong with Figma this evening. No, just duplicate. Oh, okay. Let me just use the other shortcut. So this one we call it TAM. Is your total addressable market within that everybody that you have. Now, this market can now be targeting perhaps tailors in Nigeria. Sorry. No, it's my time. So maybe tailors in Nigeria or wherever they are. But beyond that, there is still a smaller size again. In this particular last two, I'm looking at money. Those that can afford what you have chosen to sell to them. Maybe in all of those tailors, not all of them are on the internet, right? Not all of them uses application. For instance, you can't be targeting a tailor in a village in anywhere, maybe in a village in Borno, in any other state across Nigeria. They are in your addressable market because they are in the country, right? But because of access to internet, to technology, they are not serviceable by you. Okay? They are not serviceable by you. Um, sorry. They are not serviceable by you. You call those ones SAM. Okay? Those are the serviceable, available markets. They are available. They are the ones you can service. Serviceable and available. So that's what market sizing is. These things are easy. One of the things that also speaks to me is that there are concepts that even if you wish to know, before you type one thing on Google, you will have seen them. Okay. So the questions that will really work for us today are the ones that are quite, more strategic, the ones that you may not be able to see online, so that we can, maximize the learning we have together. So this green is your final one. This is your share of market. This is the one that you're supposed to chase. We call it the serviceable and obtainable market. Okay? There are people that that even though they are in Lagos or whatever they are, I mean, even though they are not just tailors, they are in areas that works for you. Do you understand? Maybe they are in Lagos, in Ibadan, in Port Harcourt. You should know that they have phone, they have internet, you can reach them. This is your market. Now, this is where you may not see online. The one you may not see online is simple. When you are targeting, especially when you are talking to stakeholders, investors, a lot of times people are fond of communicating this thing. Maybe number of tailors over the world are 200 million. Do you understand? So when they say who are you trying to reach? You say yeah, about 200 million people, sir. What you have done to yourself is limiting. What you have done to yourself if you do this way is to let people put you under. It's not even about pressure. They already see that you don't know what you're doing because they know that this is not possible. So this is the world. Let's say okay, the world is even 7 billion or so, or maybe let's even say the general internet users globally. Maybe let's say 2 billion. You have 2 billion people. The thing about market sizing, the sizes reduces as you begin to go. So it's not this simple. Okay. When you are working on it, you have to be more deliberate. It's not this simple. You have to be very deliberate. You have to do the work. You have to read more. Reading more is not to understand the concept now, it's to understand how it applies to your product line, to know the serviceable and obtainable market. This is where you want to achieve. Okay. Um, just a minute. Serviceable and obtainable is also 2 billion. By the time you move down to people who are in Nigeria, and don't forget, maybe the 2 billion, what you did was because the world population, now listen, the world population is maybe 7 billion, right? And out of those 7 billion, 2 billion are on the internet. You're going to do percentage. 2 billion of 7 billion is almost like, okay, maybe say the word, let's say the word is 8 billion. It's almost like it's divided by four. It's almost as if divided by four. So in that case, if you're looking at, okay, let's come to Nigeria. Nigeria is 200 million. Total addressable market, maybe those in the country, 200 million, you have to divide by four that you are coming with, because you are trying to look at those who use internet within that area. So instead of 200 million that we have in Nigeria now, your users in Nigeria have now been 50 million. If you look at those who have internet, extrapolating from the values in the world. Now, serviceable available market. Out of those 50 million, how many of them are in Lagos, Port Harcourt, I'm sorry, out of those 50 million that have internet, how many of them are into fashion? Everybody into fashion, they are serviceable and they are available, but they may not be obtainable. So let's say in this population of those that use internet and are into fashion, all of about, let's just say about 5 million are into fashion, 10%. So this is where market sizing matters, and that's a good question, really, because now you have to know how your numbers reduce and how you need to. In fact, that even makes you know if you have an idea to pursue at all. Sometimes when you are done with this thing very well, your obtainable might not be more than maybe 1,000 users after all. After all, maybe your app is strictly for pastors. How many pastors do we even have in Nigeria? Do you get? So serviceable available market, all of them in Nigeria that have internet that are tailors are now 5 million. Meanwhile, your obtainable is out of these 5 million, how many of them are in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, maybe Akure, places that have, maybe at the end of the day when you are done, your final obtainable market is 1.5 M. Endless J1, this number is what investors want to see. Now, these are the ones you must learn to chase in your first 1 to 3 years. Do you understand? This is what you must chase in your like year 1 to year 3 to capture these people. This is your, in fact, this is what they used to call market share. This 1.5 M. That is your own share of the market that you end up having. This is what you will end up having. So if you can chase this thing, if they say what's your potential market share, tell them 1.5 million people. If they tell you why, by the time you are telling them, okay, globally there are about 1/4 of the world globally use internet. That means about 1/4 of Nigerian population use internet. Nigeria is 200 million. 1/4 of Nigeria is 50 million, and out of those 50 million, those who are in your serviceable areas, I mean, your serviceable audience, those who are tailors and all of that, maybe about 5 million of them. And out of that, a lot of them that are in your brand areas, and you're looking at state, and how did you measure your brand? You must have values. You looked at state capitals, you looked at King of Unicorn, merge all of that together, give or take, your population is 1.5 million. I said all of that to say one of the things that people will look out for as a product manager is your ability to estimate. Your ability to estimate quickly. And so the judgment you are using to estimate is one of the things people respect. And I've seen that in so many um, pitch videos or pitch events I found myself in. Ability to estimate quickly. Exactly, Endless J1. Your estimation is very fast. Some people will ask you, like, okay, if you have there was today I was asking somebody was talking to me about a product, we're discussing around marketing. Because as a product manager, you're also a product marketer. We're discussing around marketing, and it was like, okay, what can I even give? And so I was like, I will take your product transport supermarket, Nigeria, Lagos, and all of that. I mean, Sorry, I said supermarket. It was a drink sort of. First supermarkets in I was in Ife that time. Ife, I remember. I said all the supermarkets in Ife. The guy just smiled. The man looked at me. The man now said something. He said, whenever you are thinking of supermarkets, don't look at the show. He said, and now, so he said, at that supermarket in Ife, I said, yes, there are so many, shows that people buy from. The guy just smiled. I said, if you don't know how the whites think or how the foreigners think, I said, what do you mean, sir? He now asked me, are there any supermarkets, even in Nigeria? You see how many supermarkets in Nigeria can pack 1,000 cars? Like 1,000 cars will pack inside it. And I said, well, my mind had to leave the entire southwest and stay maybe only in Lagos. Because I'm not sure the shop right in Ibadan I won't take 1,000 cars. So maybe the shop right, some the one in Lagos self, I doubt 1,000, but it will try to come close. And he now said that's how investors look at your market. Do you understand? They just look around. Nah. Even if they come to the supermarket and they see that on the busiest day they don't have 1,000 cars, they don't see that as a market they should bother themselves about. You don't have their money. So you must be careful, and that's why market sizing works. Thank you. And do we have another question we can quickly address? Different between PRD and MRD, because my colleagues will still come around, and I would like the questions to go around. I will also be keeping some of the questions for them. I saw that. You're welcome, Endless J1. And what other things are we looking at here? Um, I have been seeing different PRD format all around. Should we stick to the one here, or there's an acceptable standard per industry? There is no. So one of the things you must do is that whatever you were given is a template. You can always improve on it. I was supposed to send the project completion document to a bank, and I asked them to send me their template. And when I saw their template, it was shabby. And in case you don't know, most people don't even read all of these things around companies. They do not. You can go online. One of the jokes is that the product manager is somewhere writing a PRD that nobody is reading. So people hardly read many of these things. You still find yourself. That's why as a product manager, you must not be tired of communicating. You will communicate as if you did not do documents. I'm telling you the truth. People are not going to read. They're going to come to that meeting. I want to be using that meeting to learn. So the first thing they do in that meeting is that, can you present that PRD? And you're wondering, present what? I thought we were going to come here to discuss it. So people will not read. Why did I say that? There is no standard anywhere. There are no two equal products except they both do not do market research properly. So there are no standards anywhere. It is up to you to take your time to learn and improve on the ones you have. But the moment you have your basic instructions, your feature requirements is there, your user stories, acceptance criteria, all of those things put together, you can put your document out there. Do you understand? There will always be room for review. Your first job, you are not going there to say you are the senior product manager. You probably be an intern. So if you write a document, somebody's going to put correction on it. That's when you now understand the style of that particular product manager or the style of the company, and then you adapt. But the templates or whatever my colleague give you is enough for you to know the idea. This thing is simple. Like I said, your joy as a product manager is not to camp on one thing. I want to do a product. This time me up. These documents I've written, if somebody reads it, do they understand what this app can do? Do you understand? That's why you start from maybe your introduction, a paragraph that introduces the app, maybe a bit of a problem statement, something small, not too much. You're not trying to pitch. You're trying to let your technical team understand what you want to do. From there, the objectives you want to address. From there, maybe scope, then key features. Separate your MVP. When you have done your key features, move into the MVP. They can see it. You can now move deeper into your user stories. And user stories are clear. Maybe sometimes me, I can do user stories per feature. um Login, I want to type my password. I want to type my if I forget my password, I want to do that. When you put all of that, you move towards when that is done, you can now move towards the acceptance criteria, which meaning what makes me accept this thing that it is done. Do you understand? If you give it to me and I do not like it, What are the acceptance criteria? So for the MVP and for the rest of the solution, that should be enough for a review. Everybody reviews. Sorry, I was trying to look for this part. Is not there. Okay, you can now update yours with it. So that's why you keep seeing different templates out there because they are different people, and the basic document is enough for you to think. Okay, boy. Um, so I think I've answered about that. Somebody asked PRD and MRD. What do you mean by MRD? Let me guess, because there's PRD, there's FRD, there's PSD. There are very plenty. PRD is just market requirements. So, but what do you mean by PRD? Personally, I need to ask you yourself first. What do you understand about MRD? Then we can pick it up from there. DSA cannot help you find ideas, Mr. Shegun. DSA cannot help you find ideas. You're a product manager. Your research is going to find ideas. DSA may not have the technical expertise to give the ideas. What idea are you looking for with DSA? I mean, the question that relate to your understanding of product management. What can make a developer? There's no developer that can refuse your product. They are looking for money. Do you think they can make them refuse it to see if you don't have money to pay them? And so you cannot. I've never seen that happen. Don't worry. Well, I've been waiting for the person. I know what the market required document is in a sense. Who said I should explain prototyping? You have to go back and watch that video. I can't explain prototyping. It's a very wide concept. We spend a lot of time on it. We even showed you how to do some on Miro, how to do user story. Part of them you can do on Miro. We showed you how to do on Figma. We showed you how to do with Lovable using AI. I mean, that's literally going to take a whole week from me. So, Christiana Samuel, go back to your classes on design thinking and watch them over again if you want to learn about prototyping. Thank you. Let me move on to. So let me help your market requirement document because it's a different concept entirely. Oh boy. In product management, let me answer that question. You know what a PRD is? For a market requirement document, one of the things you must understand is the word market. And it's still in line with this market sizing. Okay? It's still in line with this market sizing. Let me help you. To get a market required document, just ask yourself some key questions. If the person that asked the question is not on this call, let me know so that I can move on. Is Osaigbo for Agwebo still here? Let me know if your question is still valid. If you're no longer on the call, let me move on to another question because this may take a bit of time. Whoever does not understand on prototyping should go and watch the video, please. Thank you. Um, this is supposed to be questions now. Why are you guys asking questions like this? So what it takes to ask questions? Did you watch those Harvard videos I told you guys to watch? You have ruminated on a concept. You have checked it. You are now bringing out key areas there that are loopholes. Questions that I don't even want something that we have an answer to directly. Something that all of us could easily brainstorm and see a way out of it. Not concepts. Prototyping is a concept. You can, if you type it on Google, you will have at least 5,000 um, links to click and read from. And we have a solid class on it. We even gave you AI tools to prototype with. And some people even did a lot of things. And some of you are even reached out with some things you have done. So I don't think it's fair on the entire class to start going back to prototyping. So if I see another question that I could prioritize about prototyping, I'll go into it. But if not, I may just branch on it, just gloss over it. So let me help this person that asked question on marketing. Just 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 that I've not seen. Okay, somebody said we are listening. Okay, let me ask. Market requirement document. Let me tell you the truth. If you go on Miro, like I showed you, do you see all those templates, all those different things? They are used by product managers, oh, a lot. So there is no end to documents you will write. But let me just help you. Market requirement document, just ask yourself 5 questions. I've noted it here. One of them is, what is the market you are targeting? And why do you believe it's worth pursuing? Why do you think you should chase this market with this product? Because, as Mr. Shegun said, Bularewa, he said, I'm currently working on a product, just did the business case, tactically reviewing potential customers to create personas. But the challenge is, whatever the challenge is. But what happens, I used him for example. You see how much work you have done. You're not gone anywhere. Oh. If not be say, if it's not that you just want to me too, I'm building. If you really want to do it, do you understand? If you really have passion for it, you will see how much work it takes. So you don't want to waste it. So don't even make it about investors. Ask yourself the truth. Ask yourself the right questions. Okay? Sorry, you can expand my screen now. Ask yourself the right questions. This market I'm pursuing, is it worth it? Okay, I want to build an application for primary school students to be able to think better in class. Is it worth it? Is it worth, not the slides, my face, thank you. Is it worth pursuing? I don't know if you guys are getting me. That's where you do a market requirement document. Is this product required by the market? That's what you're trying to say. I'm trying to expand your mind so you know what the document should contain. By the time I tell you what it contains, you see it's easy. Second one is, what is the potential revenue available from this market? Except it's an NGO application. And that is where market sizing comes in. Can you estimate your total addressable market? Do you understand? The number of users that you can get, look at it. The next one is where Mr. Shogun say he is. Who are the buyer and user personas in this market? What is their persona like? See all these things. That's why I won't like to you, except you get a job in an early stage startup or a company that is growing, that has done all this work. I mean, in a growth country, not even early stage startup, because early stage startup want to really grow. So the most times think all of these things are waste of time. It's until they get to the market, everybody's eyes will now be red. They will now be forcing product manager to get users by force. And that's why I already pity some of you. I know you get jobs. One of the challenges you will see, and I can tell you, like I know my name, is that the product you'll be managing will not have market worthiness. They will now be putting muzzle on you, get users, which even me guy cannot use the app by. There's no use for it, man. So what are the buyers and user personas in this market? Are you looking at business managers and all of that? Especially for softwares that are like B2B, business to business. For instance, maybe I say, I want to build an application that they'll be using to collect offering in church. Hmm. The question remains, most people who are paying offering in church already like to transfer from their banks. They already have their bank details, their church bank details. It's easier for them. You now want to create a new app, they will now have to download, they will now start learning how to use. Probably they will now still transfer money to that app first before they transfer to church. Are you sure people want this thing? Is this a problem? Did anybody complain to you that he has issues with paying in church? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So, what are the problems facing these personas that you can solve? Then, how do we solve the problem? So, when you do that, your document is simple. It is just going to be a strategic document, okay, that will define the market's requirement or demand for your product. It doesn't have too much market requirement, demand for your product. When you're looking at the things it will have, let me guess, you do come on quickly, you do your MRR, you do your I'm remembering. You do your SWOT analysis, you do your PESU, you do your persona, you do your ST. Like when you say you did a business case, it's almost close to business case. You do your estimated value of the business, your calculations of your total admissible market. So a few sharp vision. Then of course the vision of your product, the mission of your product will be there. Executive summary, key objectives. I've mentioned SWOT. I've mentioned challenges. Your vision, your target market. It doesn't need to have too much, and you can get templates everywhere. If you go to AHA, you can look for AHA, AHA apostrophe AHA apostrophe is a very good platform for product managers as well. AHA apostrophe. Aha is a website. It's a good platform. You find their market requirement doc. They even have template on there. You will see a template you can work with. So it's very simple. It's just to help anybody see what they should have. Sorry. It's to help everybody see what you should have. Personas, competitors, yes. Your metric strategy, simple document. Is almost very close to business case. Exactly, Samson Olusola. That's so get your marketing requirement document. In a marketing requirement document, you are not going to be writing features. You are not going to be having user stories at all. In fact, your persona is more of a buyer persona. Of course, it's still user persona, but this time you are looking at their marginal propensity to purchase, the desire for them to go for your product. That's all. So moving on, um, you see templates online. Sorry, I'm trying to get my colleagues in into the call. Admin, please let me admit the other my leaders. Okay. Yes. Headless J1. Omo. And I want the drivers back. Oh. So let me tell you something about your Google form. Google form is like market research. It does not help. You cannot just continue with the product from that. We taught you, I give you what they call three C's. Your Google form is just, you have your customer, you have your competitor, right? And you have your company. Your Google form is just giving you a part of your customer. In fact, it does not substitute for interviews when you are doing design thinking. Okay? When you want to empathize, Google form will not give you that. For empathize under design thinking, you have to do some one-on-one interview, except you don't want build product. Oh. Like I used to say, this thing is not for rituals. A product takes a lot of work. You understand? It takes a lot of work when the work starts. You spend a lot of money. Either you are the one spending it or it's your company. A lot of money is going in. You can just start to look at number of you resuming every day. Product manager, maybe two other people in the product management, maybe marketer, and then your assistant or whatever, or your leader in any case, one or two developers, one UI UX person, and then you still have several meetings, internet you're using. Your salaries, all of those people in a month alone can be going to 3 million, and you can work on that project for the next 1 year. So 3 times 12, you see what that is, yeah? That's about 36 million. And I'm only using an OPEX, literally, because there's a lot of capital expenditures I didn't bring into the table. That means the work that the product needs is too much for it to not be admitted in the market. You understand? And I know a bank that has launched a product now. The last time I heard, they spent over 3 billion naira on marketing, and there's no adoption. In fact, if I mention the product now, many of you will not know it, and you will not know the bank that has it. But I will not do that. I'm saying all of that to say and it's not just one bank. I know about two, three banks in that space. And the reason is because there are product managers within banks, not just like you, who have to bring ideas that launch. And at least one of my colleagues work with banks as well, to their own defense, most times the pressure to bring up something is a lot, and they jump all of these places. But after all, uncle, the truth is, last class is the product manager that will win, because he's going to pull up a CV and say, I launched this product, blah blah blah, with this bank, and go. Either the bank is making money with it, nobody wants to know. Do you understand? So the work, I said all of this to say that it's not a ritual, but the work that a product contains is too much for you to take something that you have not really scrutinized to the market. And that's why you cannot just go with Google alone. You have to do everything you need to do. Ensure that your pain point is real. When what Google does, it gives you overview to say your idea is okay, but you need to go deeper into pain points to be able to see. And when you're doing all of that, you'll be able to get ideas into features. For instance, if you don't, what if, okay, even if you see a problem, Google show you there's a problem. If you don't research into your competition, what if there's a product that is already doing that in the market? And as you're building your own, they now did aggressive marketing, and then people didn't see a need for yours anymore. So you need to also research into your competition. You need to do SWOT analysis into yourself and your company, and then your best tool or tip analysis for your competition. See what they have. Or, like I said, you can just use your Potter's five forces, which we did. You do all of that, about five different forces, and then you can rest assured you are making headway on your product. Okay. Abosede Mujaro, you talked about wireframing. Kindly help with this. In what context, please, Abosede? Okay, Adebisi, there is a question here. Oh, uh, any plan to walk us through on any wireframe on different tools? We've done that before now. I showed you how to do wireframe on Figma. This is revision class, so not let's go over it again, class, guys. Hey, Joe, we did this thing on Figma. We showed you. There's no amount of how much I can show you that can make you automatically learn it. You have to practice it. Do you understand? So product management is not like UI UX class, and I will explain. Maybe I'll let my colleagues speak to that. Because in UI UX now you are learning only one thing, and then you're just different classes. You're picking another to learn in different classes. Probably at the end of the day, okay, do one website, you do data, one thing. But in product management, there are different concepts that can help you manage the product. Is what you are put. So tendency to forget it if you don't practice is very high. Um, okay, BC, I don't know if you have one or two things to add to that. If you're on the call, okay. While waiting for that, let me. In fact, if I go on my Figma now, we'll see the wireframes we all did together. I'm very sure I'm going to see it. We did a lot of work. Okay, and do we have more questions before we get on the break? Exactly. I've seen one that I think we did together. You see. Please, admin, bring up my screen. Thank you. So this was the wireframe we all worked on together. You guys can see. We can't continue like that because it's different from all for all platforms, depending on what you're working on. In fact, we did a user story together on Miro, which is still a form of prototyping, really. Of course, it's just to help you see the journey from the beginning to the end. And I showed you that if you do a very good you user flow, sorry, if you do a very good user flow, you may need everybody may need to skip wireframing process. Although I know companies that don't skip wireframing regardless, depending. If your user flow process is solid, you may not need to wireframe so that your UI person, because what the thing is that most UI UX person will tell you, and I've seen it consistently. Yes, you can see. I remember we did this together when we were doing user stories together, user flow. I don't know the application we did it for, but we did this, and I showed you guys how you can use sticky notes to, you know, to even add extra notes on different parts. And I said if you do user flow well, you may not need to go to um um white. I mean wireframing, and this is because by the time your designer does wireframe for you, and you now start editing, still start doing. By the time you need to start applying color, you will now go and start from the scratch again. So they mostly like to just do it jeje with the color. If you correct screens, whatever screens you correct, it's still easy for them to design that screen that to say, okay, wireframe is correct. So that's a step in the agile methodology that is not really agile. Do you understand? It's not necessary at all. It's like somebody is, I don't even know the analogy to use for it. It's a freaking waste of time. So let me just do the app. If you like, correct it. But at least I've picked my colors, I picked everything. So, like I said, many of you realize that so are doing revision now. It now look as if, oh, it's true, I learned this thing. And that's what I'm speaking. I'm always afraid of practice. Whatever you do not do will go away. I won't lie. Even if it is game, if you play today, you didn't play in 2 years, you carry your part next time, they flog you as if you do not know how to play. So please don't joke with this thing. And this is why if you don't do this thing, you will self-sabotage. And that's why I would say carry your product along. I said many of you to have done these things on your product. So if you are asking questions, those are the things I want to hear. I want to hear I was doing this thing on this thing. I had this issue somewhere here. Then we can answer you. And that's why we've had three of us here today. So thank you. Yes, so that's it. So prototyping is easy. Bamila, do you want to put more on that? You can zoom in or please. You can just zoom out side by side. I don't know if my colleague can hear me. He's muted. I don't know if my colleague can hear me. He's muted. My colleague can hear me. Okay, it's still reloading. Okay. While we're waiting for that, we need you to drop your questions. Okay, there is a question that says, "What can make a developer refuse your product?"
So, sorry.
Yes,
Can
yes,
can anybody hear me now?
yes. We can hear you.
All right, great, great. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. How are you guys doing today? All right, you wanted me to share more light on prototyping,
Anybody
right?
hear me now? Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great, great. Good evening. So, basically, right, when you think of prototyping, just think of you trying to validate an idea you have in your head. Like I told you guys, right? Ideas are beautiful. They are beautiful as it were. And your job as a product manager, right? You are trying to move that idea to an actual product, right? One of the first step. Okay, great. Thank you, Fusi. One of the first step you go, one of the first thing you do, right? You want to make sure that your product, in its sense, is you can touch it. Permit me to use that word. You can feel it, right? It's not best left as an idea. So prototyping is just you trying to sketch things out, right? Sketch things out to be able to visualize your idea. You get so when you think of prototyping, you are trying to visualize that idea that you have in your head. You understand? You want to validate it that okay, this idea can actually have a process. This idea can actually become a product. You understand? So when you think of prototyping, just think of you trying to validate your idea. One, like I've said, trying to put a picture to the thought in your head, trying to put a picture to the idea you have in your head. Do you get it? You get it? So, I told you in one of the classes that one of the easy things I do actually, I like to sketch when I have an idea or when they come to me and say this is the feature that we want to build, right? I like to have a picture to it. So prototyping is just you putting that picture, you know, that visual representation to that idea. As it were, do you get that? I mean, let me stop it here before. I mean, I think it's a
Yes,
bit. Yeah.
yes, yeah. You're making a lot of sense. I think that works. And one of the things we also showed you guys in the last class is how to use Lovable. One of the things these AI tools even does to you, yeah, is that you can even see your idea better. It's not. Don't think AI can finish it. Oh, I know they will get there, but for now they cannot finish it. You can see your. We showed you Lovable. Abosede in particular. We used Lovable on your product. It was even a pink color product. for with Lovable, if you use a lot of prompting on it, and a lot of you have done it, I've seen, you know, you even see it helps you. Prototyping will help you see this thing. Like you said, idea is sweet. It's when you put it down, you start saying, that idea not really. Do you understand? Prototyping it helps you to see what you want to do. We'll come back more and we'll pick more questions. I think the last 1 hour will be really heavy and fast. So let's go do your attendance now and be very fast on your returning, and we'll be here to kill everything for you. Um, Thank you very much again, and we appreciate you guys for joining us. So please, it's attendance, not holiday, because some of us take it as a trip. We just go, we travel away. Please come back as early as you can. Just fill it and come back online. Thank you very much.
Where's my? I like to use my American flag. Eh?
Okay. Um, you're welcome, guys. Confirm you can hear me. All right, please pull us up. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, BC and Bamila, for gracing us with your presence. All right. Okay. I'm trying to look for what's the lucky question right now that we get the first. But before we get lucky question, there's a question they asked earlier, BC. They said, what can make a developer drop your project? Like developer verse, say, I not do again. And and I told them that if you don't have money to pay them again. But then maybe I was just generic. Can you guys come in, please? No, don't share any screen now. Admin, help us. Thank you. Three, because my head is too big in the center. Um, all right, can you guys come in?
Who is going first? It's
You're
just
already,
Bamla going first.
you're already unmuted. Please just go.
Okay, I think from my own understanding, the only reason why a developer can decide to drop your projects is if you don't have a clear PRD, if they cannot
Hmm.
relate with what you are writing. As you all know, as a PM, I didn't even say good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good to have everybody on the call. Yeah, forgive my manners. Yeah, so if you do not have a well documented PRD that explain what you're trying to work on, they might not take you seriously. And yeah, that's another reason why they can drop your projects. What other reason? Yeah, if you are not straightforward, if they're having problem with your PRD or they don't have more clarity as regards the project, they can drop it. So I don't think money can be the reason because they're not the one paying. Yeah, no be PM they pay now. So why? So yeah, so just Guamila, I don't know if you have something different to tell them.
Okay, do I have something different? So I mean, money is a motivation first off for everybody who wants to work with you. Either you are the one paying them or not. If they no pay salary, people no go work with. I remember when they gave us some bonuses at work one time like that for one of the project we launched to life. At least for that week, everybody was motivated to work. In fact, we were ready to give, extra hours to work. So I mean, I feel money is one motivation, right?
So, but if I may
Like I
ask,
said,
Damila, in my case, it's different.
yeah.
And I will tell you why. When people pay, well, of course, bonuses come when you deliver on projects. But that's now the issue. It now comes to when a new project is coming, the first thing they're asking is there a bonus? So this is the idea. Whatever you are building for clients that is direct payment, there's always bonus. Because
Okay.
of course. But whatever is for internal, like we're building it internally,
Yeah.
you will now see a lot of
So
people
I
running
mean,
away from that project. They will even ask you,
all
how
right.
far,
So
which clients get this one?
yeah, I mean, I know more money can be a lot. But that being said, it's advised that people should also have a reward system for engineers, right? Both Nigerian and my foreign gig. I mean, I've seen reward work, well with engineers. So, but basically, that being said, one of the major reasons I think that engineers might dump your project, yeah, is one,
Uh-huh,
when there's no communication,
uh-huh.
right? When they feel like, at times when you don't communicate clearly, after they have finished project in their own mind, you now say, sorry, you are supposed to add this one, you have not added it. They keep going back
So,
and forth with the project. I mean, they get tired.
exactly, exactly.
They get tired.
So,
They get
if I
tired.
may ask a question, guys, in the spirit of
Yeah.
that question, in this case, I don't have a job with a company, for instance, but I have my own idea I want to work with. Are there things I can do to get developers on board,
Hmm.
even if I do not have money? And of course, what can make them drop my project? Do you understand? For instance,
I get.
some,
Yeah.
Yeah. So who wants to go first? VC, can you help us first?
Repeat your question, please. What was your question?
Okay. I mean, I have a product now. So, we were telling them to have their own product here and to carry
Mm-hmm.
their product along. So, if they want to go forward with their product, what can they do to achieve that? Especially if they do not have the money to pay them now. And how can they manage a relationship in a way that they don't lose those developers throughout the phase of the project? All right, let's move in.
I want to repeat your question. You are saying, for example, they have a product they want to work on, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
have the finance, right? But they have,
This ADBCO is a idea alone. Okay. No be idea I go start from. Okay.
well,
Continue.
I don't understand what.
No, there's
Okay,
someone in the comment section.
okay, let me check. All right, yeah, if I get your question correctly, you're saying that, for example, they have a product they want to work on, but don't
Yes.
have the finance to carry out that project. But they have developers that could assist them,
Mm-hmm.
right? But and the question is, what was the question?
How can they go about it, and what will they coordinate themselves throughout the project lifecycle (SDLC) in a way that developers know go let's drop them?
Hmm, because they don't have money.
Yes, because I've seen it happening.
Yeah, they can negotiate now. I mean, you're a
How?
PM and he's a developer, right? So you have a skill you can offer as an exchange.
Okay.
Do you
So
get?
the person we so is how will I get that developer on board to join me on the project?
I think what you just have to do is you can explain your situation to the person. Obviously, you just have to come out clear and plain. See, I'm a newbie, and these are the things I'm trying to achieve, right? But
Okay.
then, even exactly, even if we don't have money today, don't worry, I'll pay you in the future when I make it.
When they start treating your product, maybe they start doing your product only on Saturday night when they are very free.
No,
Just use
now.
10 minutes on Saturday night to do it.
I think it's
So
all about conversation at the same time. Create like a good relationship with your developer and explain your story.
Okay.
Tell your story,
Mhm.
and I'm sure they're more than willing to help you.
Okay.
all
Okay.
right.
Just Bamila wants to say something because you're just doing like this. You want to say something? I know this.
Yeah,
You're
I think
about
I
to
agree
throw a
with you for
bullet.
sure.
Yeah, you're about to throw a bullet because I know.
You don't in face don't see shake it before me.
So two
I want to
things.
hear
If
from
you don't
yes,
get money,
Bamila.
so permit me to use pigeon. If you don't get money, you guys get character. You understand?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What money cannot buy for you, your good character will buy for you. Right?
Exactly.
That's
I
one.
agree.
Because if you don't get good behavior, I mean, at that point, right, forget that you are wearing two hats. You are wearing both the hat of a founder and the hat of a
Mm-hmm.
product manager, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you must have good character. If you don't get good behavior, nobody will work with you.
That's
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right.
and you must know what to say. Communicate the vision to people. I mean, English is sweet to say, like communicating the vision, because I mean we're in the days where where people want money. Forget your vision. So I mean, me for one, right? There have been years where I worked where I tried to build, but I mean, start. I tried to start, but start. I've worked with people and I worked out, right? One thing is one, get character. Two, yeah, you should have relationship with people because along the line,
Yeah.
right, it's easy to get developers who are your friend to work on your
Mm-hmm.
project.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't stop at that, right? Don't be greedy. After you have sold the vision to them, also tell them, you can tell them you give them equity on whatever you are building, right? Bring them in as one of the hack, to be very frank now, one of the hack is get a co-founder who is a developer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, get a co-founder who is a developer. That one is one easy way to crack the whole thing, right? That developer co-founder of yours can access developers who are also his friends. He can have a big me for one, as a product manager, it's easy for me to start a product now and have developers. Why? Over the years, I've had, you know, developer friends. So it's easy for me to just talk to a few of them and have one come on board because I'm a good person. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
permit me to, to brag
To
small.
make your
I think I'm a
trumpet.
good. I think I'm a good
Blow it
person and I've
now.
worked with
But the
engineers
Jericho
over
will
the
fall on your
years.
head.
I think I'm a good person. I've worked with engineers who love me, right? Because I've
Mhm,
taken, I've told you, don't behave like a CEO because you're a product manager. Be empathic when you're dealing with people. Empathy goes a
mhm,
long way. I've felt their pain when they are working on my product, even though I don't really feel it, but I'm just trying to be nice to them so that they can do my job. So they feel I'm a nice guy. So they want to work with a
mhm,
nice guy. Even before I tell them that to give them a share in my company, I'm a nice guy. So they just want to work with me. Sometimes they can't say no because I've been nice to them over the years. So there's one idea of human beings. They feel they owe you because you've been nice to them at one point or the other.
mhm,
So first off, let me summarize all of these things that I'm saying. First off, if you don't get money, get character. Yeah.
mhm, mhm,
Secondly, if you look at a network of friends, since you know you have an idea, you can take a while, just build friends, have friends, and be intentional about the friends you have. Leke for
mhm.
one is my friend. If I need him to join me on a product, right? Maybe the product is huge. I can easily chat him up. Oga Leke Alpha, I get one idea one run. Oh. He would happily want to work with me. I mean, BC is here. I chat her up. She will come and
With
work
my
with me. I'm
invoice, with my
intentional.
invoice. Continue, continue.
So So that's second, network of people. Thirdly,
Mhm,
right? Don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. Yeah. Tell them you give them equity. You don't you just give them equity in the papers. Yeah, there's no money. They can see. You are transparent with them. They can see
mhm,
it. When money
mhm.
starts to come, you have a proportion. You get. You are not greedy. In fact, I'm ready to give you 50-50. I'm ready to give you 40%, depending,
Simple.
but you do the job. Everybody knows what you are bringing to the table. Maybe I'm going to the market, I'm working on the product squarely. You are writing the code. You understand? So you can have a co-founder. It's all about networking. It's all about having good
Mhm.
character. It's all about, that's just the two things that help you to build a product out. Yeah.
Okay. All
But
right. Let me
then,
quickly chip
but then
this in.
building the
Okay.
product,
Okay.
please make sure your
Please
idea is
go
valid. Don't
in.
let them waste them. All
Go
Okay.
right, all
in.
right.
Okay. I remember thank you so much, Jason Pamela. I mean, it makes sense what you're saying. But I'll just say this to us, right? We all know that we are PMs, product manager. And as DSA is concerned, right, we have developers, we have marketing, we have data, we have front end, etc., etc. You can just check on YouTube and try to connect with one of those guys. So these are guys that see guys that you're in the same level, so they will not be
BC,
too
may they go connect with person we just learn coding.
but I just feel like you can actually network with them too now. Besides,
Ah,
Okay.
you're all learners now, right? So
True,
I just
true.
try to
But
exchange
sorry, to
knowledge.
support what you're saying, yeah, I think she's speaking to building your network from now.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Because the people I can call on now, we were all fools 5, 10 years ago.
that's right.
Do you understand? I think she's speaking from there. Yeah, continue, please.
Okay, so don't just limit yourself to product manager alone, right? If you're even trying to connect with people also, don't just limit yourself to PM. As I speak to you and I want to build a product, I have friends that are designers, I have friends that are front end, I have friends that are back end, data, name it. We have a team already, and I'm the PM. So at the end of the day, even if you don't want to like pay, right? I'm not saying you should be selfish, but I think people are done. I mean, like what just Bamila said, don't be greedy. We are working as a team, like it's a full house. So I can work as a PM for your project. You can work as a front end for my own project. We are team, right? So just try to just build that right now. Don't just limit yourself to just PM. Do you understand? So that also helps. Yeah.
So,
Thanks.
if I may chip one thing, there's a lot of stories in the tech space that can make some experienced developers not answer you. And I will tell you why. A lot of times, and I'll give you a skill. If Pamela and I were to work on a product now and we're bringing a developer, the way I will share the share, Pamela is 35, I'm 35. That developer will be 30. You get why? If you put yourself on a 50-50, you are in trouble. Because by the time you bring an investor, maybe the investor will take 20%. You are back on 30. Do you understand? If that guy and that investor palace They are on a 70%. If the developer decides to sell 50% of his own, you are no longer the owner of your company. So it's always a crazy story out there. Over dicey gun. But what I want to bring into what they're saying is you have to share. And this thing is not is not a job. You will do a document. Your lawyers will give you share documents. For any company you want to set up, you have share capital of 100%. You can split it within them. If somebody is seeing 10% on something, they'll be jumping on it. But this is what I want to say that I feel they may not have added. Don't be lazy. See, they have raised a valid point. We all need a technical co-founder. I cannot code. I'm not one. So I need a technical. If you don't have a technical co-founder, it will be hard to raise funds. Do you understand? It will be hard. Nobody wants to give you money when you don't have the engineering knowledge to build what you want to build. That's by the way. But the work is not for the technical co-founder alone. So what will make them not stay with you for long if they notice that they are building something that there's no work behind it. In the next 6 months, you have not seen one investor, not even your auntie say take 500K or take 200K. Nobody at all, not even somebody, one rich man in your church say take 200K. Nothing. You understand? The money to register self, you don't have it. The money to pay lawyer to patent idea, you don't have. You don't have back account. So while they are building, you to be working. Do you understand? If you are giving the information, okay, guys, you know what? I'm sorry, this week I'm going out. This is my pitch deck. As they are building, you self work on product pitch. You understand? Work on MRD, carry the pitch deck. They are building today. Say, okay, you know what? I think I want to block. I beg. I gas day somewhere today. I need to block this man in this hotel. There's one event. They want to talk to 5 people. There is no developer that will hear you are doing that. That will not put his energy on that thing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? In fact, your friends that you did not even tell about it to be jealous at that time. Everybody will be looking for work because they see that this thing will prosper. We've done this thing with people before and they raise money and the thing we saw was best. I've always said it in this class because it's paying me to today. I was not supposed to be teaching this class. I thought that was my way out of working all my life. Multi blue. I don't already prepare to print t-shirt and face cap. Only for my guy to buy best, buy until software went down. Now I'm here hustling for money back, which is not really good for me. I for don't retire by now. So as good as you want to see everything, you put in the work. As your developers are working, be working. For a product to work, not be only by coding, no. Be working. And you cannot give everybody equity. Even if it's that you have raised 1 million, take half we raise this money, but more no chop am yet. Do you understand? And we don't buy security. Let them see that you have bought domain name for 4 years. Do you get what I'm trying to say? To buy domain name on Hostinga for 4 years will take you about some 86 or $87. Let them know that you have bought domain name for 4 years. Do you understand? They are happy to code. If it is waiting list, pay one small developer to 200K to help you build websites. Don't tell that person coding the software to be doing website for it. Have a waiting list. Have a wait list. Like you to be doing your work. Coding is not everything that makes a product work. As they are doing coding, be doing marketing. Update your pitch. I spoke to this investor today. He finished me, but I've adjusted my pitch deck. I'm going again. They are happy. In fact, see, the truth is everybody wants a retirement plan. Everybody want to come out. Then Babayami, you know what retirement plan? Do you understand? Everybody wants a way out of the industry. So as much as possible, please do the work. Okay. Are there more questions on the platform that we can address? Is there any legal guide for your idea not to be used by another? Yes, you patent it. You talk to a lawyer. Can you guys hear me? Talk to a lawyer. Okay. Uh, so they're asking for legal guide, guys. Can you come in? Yes. Is there any legal guide for example, if you need to give your lawyer equity to even start the idea, what bad you now? Do you understand? You're able to pay for all of these things. If you share equity finish, what will you give investor? Guys, you can come in. What do you think?
All right. So for me, I think that there are a few things that you must put in place actually, because this conversation is already tilting towards a path that I have walked, right? And I feel like um, so to build a product, right, there are a lot of things involved, right? And there are certain sets of people that you must have. One of which is your lawyer. It's very important that, because if you're building a product and you know that this product, like you have said, is your retirement plan, it's something you want to work. There are people that are important. You need a lawyer in your life. You need an accountant. And yes, you don't have to pay these people. And I'm dead serious. You don't have to pay, because starting out, you don't have so much money. You want to save as much as you can. And of course, you can't be sharing equity like what's it called? Like you're sharing bread. Because at the end of the day, they will kick you out of your business. You might do the hard work and don't have a business at the end of the day. So one of the big things you must do, right, as someone who wants to build a product, who wants to own a product, who wants to found a company, right, is you have to be big on relationships, because that's the only way out. Anything money cannot buy, relationship is the only way you can get it. Actually, you must be big on relationship. You must be big on relationship, right? So you don't have to give them equity. There are ways you can make your people do stuff for you, right? For example, your legal document for your organization is can be easily done for you by a friend. You can patent your idea. That is not so hard to do, right? It's one of the easiest things. Secondly, let me tell you now, there are certain products that have certain, certain policies that governs them in whatever country you are in, right? There are certain, for example, if your product idea is like a fintech idea, know that there are certain policies that guide, a financial technology, whatever. There are certain policies that guide different organizations or different sectors that you're looking to go into. That's why you need a legal person that will help you look through all of these things. What is the law that is binding whatever I'm trying to do? So you need a legal person. You need a lawyer. If you don't have one lawyer in life, generally, forget that you are building a product. You need a lawyer at your corner. So you need a lawyer. You need an accountant. It's very important, because one of the reasons that products fail, right, is because at the end of the day, you cannot look at your books, right? I've seen businesses close because of grant was flying in here and there. You're raising money. You feel like you're good. I don't. I wish I could share personal stories, but I'm just trying not to. So you think you're doing profit. You think you're doing well. You have raised money, right? Money is coming in, right? You think you're good, but then if you don't have an accountant to help you check your books, right? As little as transport fare that you are paying for can wreck your business. So, I mean, these are people you need for your business. You need a legal person, honestly, and you don't have to pay them. Trust me when I say that. You don't have to pay them. I remember when one time that I tried to start something that did not start. One of the reasons why I went back to my father's house, right, was because of my books, right? We got grants, we had money. I even thought that I had made it in life, and that was it, you know. But one of the lessons I learned, yeah, in that field exercise was the fact that I did not have a good record of the books. Right, I thought I was good. I thought we had money. We had money to fly plane to events. We were speaking around events, forgetting that the goal of business, right? Forget about product now, because you are building your product to make profit from it. The goal, at the end goal of all your products, in this sense, is to escape SAPA, to actually, as much as you want to solve user need, right? You want to have money, you want to make profit. So you need to take it seriously. Yeah. We had grants, money was coming in, we thought we were good, it was easy to go and be speaking in events. They will invite you to events. I was carried away with the event stuff. That's why these days you see that I'm always behind the scene. I'm not so much well carried away with events, speaking here and there. Meanwhile, we're actually running at loss, and we thought that we were making money. We could not see that. You wouldn't see that cloud cost is eating you up. You wouldn't see that the revenue you are making from your product is not even enough to run your day-to-day activity, right? So I mean, a lot of things like that. I also remember when a group of my friends wanted to start up a fintech organization, a fintech like that. Until we read certain policies, and we saw that there were some laws that was binding this space that we're coming into. So, like I've said, apart from your development team, so to say, you also need some team that would actually help you with your commercial aspect, right? You need an accountant, you need a lawyer. It's very important, and you don't have to pay. You can leverage relationship as it goes forward. As you begin to make profit from your business, you can now start to, you can now start to introduce money. I mean, let me stop at that.
Okay, so thank you. Before you continue, Damila, BC, in a short way, I don't know why there are so many green screens everywhere. Maybe StreamYard is kind of weak. Um, Practically, what is a go-to-market strategy? Elevator speech, like we're explaining to a primary one student. Thank you.
Was that for me? Like,
Yes, yes, please. Let's just go on it. BC2 can come in, please.
please, can you come again?
So I said practically, what is the let's explain go-to-market strategy. Let's go back on it again. And
Mm.
apart from that, at what point should a product manager bring go-to-market strategy into the team? Is it at the beginning or at the end?
Okay. Um, the first question, if I get you correctly, you said what is a go-to-market strategy? At what point is it needed?
Exactly.
So, all right. So, go-to-market strategy is more like what are the activities that are involved for you to introduce your product to the market? You understand? For your go-to-market strategy, you have the pre-launch, you have the launch, you have the post-launch plan. So all of these things are the activities that you are going to carry out at each stages. And when you are preparing your go-to-market strategy, also you should also set out metrics, right, for you to be able to, to determine whether you are making progress or not for your go-to-market strategies. Do you understand? I don't know if that answers your question. So they are the activities that you prepare on how you're going to introduce your introduce your products to the market, obviously. So that's what a go-to-market strategy is. So there are lots of activities
All right.
for you to do
So
that.
you mentioned pre-launch, launch, and post-launch. If Camila could expand on that, practically, what are those? I know we've taught them, but for revision's sake, please, what are those things that you do at each of those phases? I mean, practically, for instance, am I supposed to open an Instagram when I'm thinking? Am I supposed to go and sew t-shirt at some point? So, what are the practical steps? Let's pick a product, for example, so that it can be more home. There is a particular product on the group, is Parent Power. Person is building a product for parents. Sorry, my video has been messing up. I don't know. I've been working on camera, but manage my audio. So a parent power, the product is for it to just make parents manage their children remotely and all of that. And then, but the goal, the acting goal is to connect, to foster connection between parents and children for better parenting. So for that kind of product, what will and please we can always pass this within each other, Bamila and Kini, and Bamila and Miss BC exactly. So what are the things that speaks to specific actions such a product manager should take at the pre-launch stage, the launch, and then post-launch stage? Specific actions. Thank you.
All right. Um, all right. So basically, right. How do I start now? So these things vary for different organizations. Let me start with that. Right. Me for one, at different stages, at different organizations where I've worked, right? At some point, we need to work with certain people when we want to launch, right? For our go-to-market strategy, right? Because what you're actually looking at when you want to go to the market is, you want to find out how you want to sell what you want to sell, right? You want to find out, who are you actually selling to? Do you get? You want to know how you will convince them to buy what you are selling. You understand? For example, yeah, my app. I mean, I know a number of you in the class is familiar with my app. Now, all right. So For example, my Bahab, so to say, who am I selling my Bahab to? Right? Because that's the market. Who are the people who wants to use my Bahab? You understand? How do I convince them to buy my Bahab? Do you get? you're, you're feeling my Bahab, right? Don't mind me, Leke. I mean, they are used to my Bahab. How will I reach these people? You know, when I think of how I will reach these people, that would I mean help me to know maybe what medium to use, right? Because remember at the first stage we have already done our user research. I know where these users are. So how will I reach them? Are they always on Instagram? Do I need to set up Instagram handle? Do I need to do all of these things? Do I need to do design and go to the market square? That speaks to how I'll reach them, right? And now how do I convince them to buy? That also determines a lot. So for example, right? For let me start with when I was with a startup that startup usually will make you do a lot of things. They will make you even come up with your marketing plans and all of that stuff. So now I have built my product. Yeah, I have built my Eba app. So I am trying to find out who am I selling this my Eba app to. Then I come up with a list of people that I want to sell this my Eba app to. Then how do I reach them? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? Are they on LinkedIn? If I've answered that question, now I can, okay, let me set up a Twitter account. Let me set up a LinkedIn account. Let me set up whatever account where they are. All right. How will I reach them? We also determine, do I need to go to the market square, right? And, tell people about my Eba app? Do market woman needs my Eba app? Do I need to go to banks to tell them about my Eba app? Do I need to set up an event to come, to tell people about my Eba app? Do you understand? So all of these things, all of these things, right, speaks to how you go about all of this. So if I'm trying to tell you just picture my Eba app and see all of the things. Now, I have determined how I will reach them. Okay, I've decided that my Eba app is majorly for people that lack access to Eba. Me, for one, after a long day, I sit down in my house, but that has changed anyways. I sit down in my house and I'm craving Eba. How do I get this fluffy Eba? I need to log into the app. So I market to me. How do they reach me? They can easily reach me on Instagram. They can easily reach me maybe on TikTok, right? So that means that I need to set up a TikTok account for my Eba app. I need to set up a Facebook account for my Eba app. All of these things, setting up your social media page, running of ads, one-on-one marketing. All of this is influenced by you first understanding how you will sell who you are selling your product to. You understand? And all of these things are actually done, before launch. You determine your strategy before launch, before you actually launch it out. Because after launch, that's when you now start to execute all these strategies that you have taught. So basically, your go-to-market strategy for me now that I want to launch my Eba app, I think of how I will go to the market before I launch, right? So after I've launched, then I start to execute each of the strategy I have. You understand? One after the other, right? That's what I do. Execution is post-launch. I come up with my strategy before launch. After launch, that's pre-launch. And before you launch, they have said, okay, let me talk about this. You come up with your strategy before you launch. Now, the necessary stakeholders you need to speak with, you do that before launch. If you need to speak to your legal team to look at your app, right? You do that. Communication with your stakeholder, internal stakeholder, external stakeholder, whoever it is, you do that before launch. After launch, now you go to, execute all the strategy, right? That's done after launch. Now, much more after is where you also, part of what you do after launch, post-launch, is you check for your metrics. You understand? You check for metrics. So those are literally, so let me give an example of how we do it. So, for startups, right, when we are done with building our product, we have done our internal testing, before we launch, we've done internal testing, we've had a number of people, right, to test. We have released this app to maybe, let's say, a number of people, maybe everybody in the organization have started using it and some close early. right? That's the pre-launch testing. We test, then we feel like we're good, then we can now launch it out. After we have launched, most of the time, after we have launched, we do like some events, right? Just to inform people about the stuff. We run, we before then we sort of our social media pages. We started to post and all of that stuff. Then after we have launched, we do active marketing, right? Active marketing, reach out to people one on one, you know, we reach out to people one on one, tell them about the product, we run ads, we do all of that stuff, you know. Then as a product manager, I start to see, I start to see how is this product doing. But then coming to an enterprise, to be honest, most of the times when it comes to, the whole launch thing, I work with, BMCC, the marketing department. I work with, the branding department, right? I just give them the product. Oh yeah, they come up with all of those stuff. You understand? They come up with strategy. They run it through me. I say it's fine. They can tell us, okay, we want to print shirts, we want to print all of those stuff. So basically, before you launch, let me come again because I said a lot of story. Before you launch, you test your product. Before you launch, you come up with your strategies that you want to go to the market. And remember what I told you. Your strategy is simple. Don't overthink it, right? And the way you find answers to your strategy is one, thinking about who you are selling to, what the people you are selling to. When you can have an answer to that, it helps you with your strategy. You understand? You can think of. Now, the second thing is, how will you reach these people that you want to sell to? That informs, maybe you set up a social media page. That informs what you go about. That. And thirdly, how do you convince them to buy? You understand? Those are the things that you think about. Now, having thought about it before launch, when you launch, you now start to execute. I mean, there are a few of these things that you can start to execute before you launch. So, for example, you would have set up your social media pages, so to say, before you launch. When you launch, maybe you have your set designs and all of that stuff that you want to be throwing out. You understand? So, basically, after you have launched, you want to check your metrics. You want to execute all of the strategy you have in plan. That's just it. I know I've said a lot of things, but let me just stop here. Let me just stop here so that I don't talk too much. I've talked too much already, though. All right.
Thank you very much. That was not even too much talk at all. That's because it needs to be quite practical, and that's the perspective you brought in. Because a lot of time we have a way to make this thing theoretical, and people will just cram it. For instance, when you were saying it specific, I remembered. I don't know if you know Bumper. When Bumper launched, I told you guys that Kevin Ume went to dance in the market. Why? Bumper was an SME app. Is a no code platform for SMEs to open their store online, create their market and order and get payment. Do you get? And you can be able to share your store link to people. So it's as if you have your own app for your business. But it's Bumper you used. He went to dance market, Balogun everywhere, went with truck when they launched. He danced around. When EcoBank launched their investment app too, in fact, when they launched their investment products too, they danced in the market to do it. So it's specific. For instance, okay, let's get a bit practical now. Damila, for someone who is
Yep.
launching an application for parents, you may need to be attending PTA meeting in different schools. It's not bad. It's part of your bucket. Put everything there. Maybe top 5, 10 schools. Your church is a very important part where parents gather. Of course, online is also part of it. But the truth is, online is a bit, you know, above the line. It's dispersed. It's as if you're shooting a nuclear bomb. You can kill everybody you don't want to kill. There'll be collateral damage. So to target people, you can bust social media and all of that. But when you know that if you discuss with 1,000 parents that are in church, you hit it. Do you understand? So, but then, so it's specific. That's why every product will have a go-to marketing plan. So draw your plan according to your market. As what is how do you know your target market? You did research first now. That's where you look at your persona, understanding what your product is, what it's addressing. You will get your target market entirely. So I don't know if BC can also speak to that. The concept of go-to-market strategy. How I want you to, but I want you to address a part we have not addressed. Um, so let's speak to the concept of wait lists. Building a wait list for your product. At what point do you think they can bring in wait lists for their product? I don't know if this is on. If she's not on yet, Bamila can also answer to that. At what point do you think wait list should come in for any product?
Okay, let me wait a bit to see if this is here before
And
I
they've not
say.
admitted that in yet. This she comes in, you can take over.
Okay, okay. So, first off, wait list is usually done before your launch. From the word wait list, they are waiting to be enlisted, right? So, but then this is it. Waitlist is done before because they are giving you snippet about this product is about to be launched. They are telling you about this product is about to be launched. You're already seeing the fuse around this product, how it's going to help your life. And you are so eager to use this product. So they want to know how many of you want to buy into have already bought into this idea. I know a lot of you would have seen people that are spamming you on your LinkedIn to join their waiting list. Yeah. So that's before launch. That's before launch. But then, Leke, permit me to say this, right? It's not part of this conversation, but I think that it is not all product that actually requires a waiting list. But for products that require a waiting list, these are usually done before the launch. Before the launch. Before the launch. Waiting lists sometimes are done, as countdown to the launching, period. So waiting list usually, to summarize it, waiting list is done before launch. You are waiting to be enlisted. All right. All right. Thank you. I'm Licky. Let me stop there. I'm Licky. Are you there? I'm Licky. Are you there?
Okay.
Oh, or
Yes,
was
thank
it?
you. Thank you very much. I was trying to find another device to come in as it was really
Okay.
getting at the other side. So yes, thank you very much. I was trying to come in. So I heard you clearly on that. I heard you clearly on that. I heard you clearly on that. Okay. So they've answered us. Sorry, I'm trying to put up another question. Okay, somebody is asking question on pricing. Somebody is asking question on campaign, post launch. What about product test? Okay, I need clear questions actually. All of the questions you're asking here, we have answered them in line with our current conversations. We've answered them in line. Yes, we've answered them in line. So let me see. Do we have more questions that are different? The maximum period between the waiting list and the launch. Okay, so that's a very clever one, really. So BC, at what point do you think somebody should bring up a wait list?
I think Gamila has already answered. Sorry guys, I have issue with my network, so that's why I'm going on and off.
All right, all
So
right.
for your wait list, it should happen before your launch, right? So
Yes,
that was exactly what Jisun Bamila explained.
yes, but the difference is at what point?
Like at what point, in what sense?
Yes, is it at the beginning before launch, or should the person allow some time? Do you understand? Maybe if you know, for instance, if you ask me, I would say, um, look at your product, your product implementation plan,
Mm-hmm.
and look at where you are a bit close to launch, and all of that. Maybe you're like, that in the next 1 or 2 months, launch is looking like it. That's when I used to do wait list. But practically, to balance it out, so it's that time before that question was trying to address.
Okay, maybe like 1 to 2 months before your launch plan.
Okay.
before you launching the product. Yeah, I think maybe 1 to 2 months before your product will be launched. That's when you start
Okay.
taking in your the list of your customers that will be patronizing you on the products you're about to launch.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Or do you
That's
think? Do you
solid.
think? Yeah, yeah.
That's solid. So, guys, let me see. We have one more question that looks like this before we go. I'm trying to see questions that looks deeper. User flow is created feature. Okay, now let me leave that one out. Should the prototype have all the feature of the product to give a full picture, or just
Uh-uh.
the features of the potential MVP? Ah, oh, Gaba,
That,
you.
that question is very funny. We've done all these things on, guys. Your MVP,
Yes,
you
now
don't need
so
to. Okay, go ahead.
yes, because I've already said I need the questions to be more strategic so that we can even help to provide perspective. But I guess what the person is trying to know, that's in business sense, is to see if the prototype is different from the MVP. So if I may say, current the prototype is different in product management like it is. Do you understand? It's
Mm-hmm.
like it is out there. Prototype out there really is the exact replica of what the product will be fully.
Okay.
But what we say prototype here, for instance, what may I use to say prototype in my own product management journey is for the UI UX to do it for me, make sure the screens can interact before we develop. That's prototype. Do you understand?
Okay.
And I will tell you why. Because why it should not be MVP in product management, but we try to reduce the amount of efforts used before we start correcting errors. We try to reduce the amount of efforts that are being used before we correct errors. For instance, the reason why we do user flow is simple. If there's something wrong in your flow, we correct it before the UI US person starts building. It's not fair for the UI US person to have finished prototype for you. You are now bringing, so for my company, oh, if you are editing UI US work and it's an entire flow, like the person sees that you have added about 2, 3 screens that you overlooked because they will tell you to send mail and you will copy the whole word so that your shame can be out in the open. So that's why you don't do that. So for user flow, yeah, what you now do with it is it helps to guide the UI UX person. Can you see we have the user flow now? You notice that it's just boxes you are drawing. Boxes, right, box, right, box, right. That's minimal work. So if you even miss 1 or 2 screens, it's easy to correct it at that level. Now, by the time you go to the UI UX person, you have increased the level of work. So ensure that the error you want to correct there is not too much. The error you should be correcting at UI UX level is just, some button placement, some things that are not looking like it. Before you prototype that, so prototyping in design thinking stops at that level. Okay? Prototyping in design thinking stops at that level. When you now want to go ahead and develop, do you understand? You have
Mm-hmm.
gone further. So you don't want to be correcting something
In
deeper. I
mm-hmm.
development, so they have coded all those screens, and I say, no, sorry, these 2 things are wrong. You're now changing them. Something
That's
back end that builds endpoints
yeah,
for.
using waterfall approach for your products.
Exactly. So you're getting waterfall on your project. So that's
Yeah.
why. So you can't even go to MVP without having your prototype. So they're not the same thing. Yes, so you will draw it. So you can draw it feature by feature. You can draw it feature by feature, depending. But if you do not draw it, you will be saying too much. Talk to your people. So we have 5 minutes to go. Um, yes.
I think there's a
Oh,
question
no.
here that would you advise those new to PM to skip their learning? And Adeleke, I
Yes,
don't know.
God bless you. That's the question I was looking for. I wanted us to round off with that question. And in
Oh
five
God.
minutes, in 5 minutes, can you just stick to that?
Okay, let me read the question to the end. Would you advise those new to PM to skip the learning work experience and go to building products? Building products, or we can start and gain experiences before we build, even through the window might have end. Those who are new to PM to skip the learning. Well, you can't skip the learning. If you skip the learning, then where do you want to get the skill set from? So you still have to get the basics. Like I used to tell you in my class that as much as they don't ask you for certifications and the likes, but you need to have the skills. Do you understand? Because even in the
Mm-hmm.
tech space, they hardly ask you that what qualifications do you have, but you need to get the skills. So you need to get the skills. The work experience also is also needed, and that is why we encourage you that for your capstone projects too, if you can, try to just come up with something great, have your prototype and all of those things, and just build your portfolio in such a way that it can be convincing. You can see that there are even so many of us. I think there was a person that shared a testimony that she got a job. I don't know if you are aware, Adeleke and Jesu Pamela. One of us got an internship role even before we completed the boot camp, right? So she already has the skills, she has taken the learnings, right? And that will also enable him or her to be able to work when you get on the field. So you can't skip the learning. That's the first thing. The work experience also, you can't really skip that also. But directly or indirectly, too, you are learning. Do you understand? Because we've taken you through all the step by step guide. So yeah, I don't know if that
All right.
answers your question.
Yes, yes. Very super. Thank you very much. Damila, do you have one or two to drop on that as well?
Yeah, thank you.
Uh,
Like I think this is missing it all up, right? Because you working on the project is you also learn, right? What I would say is that you need to learn the fundamentals, right? Me for one, I was so lucky, and I mean that I was so lucky to start build product 6 months into product management, right? And I will tell you, learning on the job, you because you have a real life project, I have to work it out. It made me learn even faster than someone who is busy learning by the books. So don't, people get caught up in learning by the books and don't do the actual work. You understand? So this is it. Learning is progressive. The way I was some years back is not the same way I am right now. So when you say learning, either you learning because even we like this, we are still learning. We still take courses on the side. We still, I mean, have sections with people who are ahead of us. We still have conversations with ourselves to learn. So learning is progressive. Don't stop learning. But as soon as you can lay your hand on the job, please, I advise people lay your hand on the job, get internship opportunity, because at the end of the day, people want to know the experience you have over the certificates that you have. So while you are getting certificates, just lay your hands on the job too. Do you
Yeah, yeah,
understand?
that's right.
all right. Thank you very much. So we have
And
like
sorry,
1 minute.
in addition to that, sorry to cut you short. Don't be scared to also, to apply for roles, even if you don't have the skill sets, but at least you have the fundamental thing, right? You know that as a PM, one thing you have to know how to do your user research, market research, know how to write your PRD, your user flow, acceptance criteria, your user story, your prioritization framework. What else do you need to know? All those documentations, just know everything, right? And ask the right questions. I think with that, I know, just know that one thing also, that before you start building any product, you need to identify a problem to be solved. If you don't know the problem, how do you want to provide solutions? So just know those foundation things. So once you already have that background in your head, when you get there, it's not that you use the idea, but then you'll be able to connect the dots. So don't be afraid to take
I
opportunity.
mean,
Just
let
like
them
what
use
just
idea. Let them use idea. They shouldn't
Oh,
get sorry, they shouldn't get caught up in the loop of learning. Let them use
okay,
idea. You don't want to
okay.
fail. You go and use the idea. Get the job, work.
Okay,
By the
okay,
time they
okay.
give you work, call Yemi, tell him this is where I am, or what can I do? Call Leke. They will guide you. That's why they are your
Yes,
mentors. That's why
so
they are
you're right,
your
you're right.
mentors.
I agree. I
Call,
agree.
call Jesus. Call Jesus. See this guy. Okay, you know what? Okay, so we're out of time. So in closing, I would just always say, if you check this particular channel, even the videos of the sessions we had the last time is still online. The videos of the current sessions are online as well. So do not make it look like you don't have resources. You have, and then take your the next phase seriously, which depends on how you take your exams and your capstone projects, and then we'll pick it up on the next phase. And I think this time around, there are learning hubs, which is a great thing DSA has done. Physical learning hubs you can walk to and learn with people. So it's going to be an exciting one. And you need to know that DSA is not just someone that trades. They do a lot of career training and all of that. So DSA is a very hands-on school. Admin, you can bring up that learning hub again quickly. So we can just speak to it in 1 minute and then we get out of here. So there are learning hubs that you may need to join. You can see that if you work with Redemption Camp, there's a learning hub there for you. There's Heaven's Glory Hub. That one is in Lagos, I think. Yes. There is Mercy of David Hub too in Lagos. There is Expression Hub. Same thing. So just and there will be more that'll be launched out for you. So these learning hubs are to help you grow this skill and get better. There are physical classes you have to go. You network better. You move more. And like my colleagues have said, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Product management is a crazy journey. It is long. I won't lie to you. But the more you learn, the better you know. I still registered for a course yesterday. It's like that because you feel like a fool. You go back again. You think you are good. You do interviews. In fact, when you start your work, what we do in edtech is different from what we do in fintech. What you do in fintech is different from what we do in Web3 or crypto. So you're in good hands. You're in good direction. So thank you very much, guys, for being with us throughout the entire journey as we move from teaching to the other phase, which is the next 1 month. Thank you very much, guys, and we celebrate you for being a part of us. Have a good night.